Welcome back to another video, ladies and gentlemen. Sending out a lot of love. I've been wanting to do this video for a minute, and now that I'm taking a break from reactions, I can get through a lot of these that I have. So I got this quick clip that we're gonna watch together. Before, I would do this style of video with putting it on my phone, and then I'd either be outside or in front of some wall, but now we're just gonna do it straight from the computer. But anyways, let's enjoy this clip real quick, and then we're gonna talk about it.
At such a young age, we face a lot of different issues because we understand that there is a game and a role to be played, and we're not playing the role how other people want us to play it. And I honestly feel like a lot of people dumb themselves down to play that role. You know, I heard Dick Gregory talk about Indigo children that are just born with high IQs and very sharp and alert. He said, and I feel as well, that a lot of those children are dumbed down because it's like, man, act like a child, because that level of awareness is seen as being smart. You're being smart right now. You're being this, you're being that. You're being disrespectful because you're not supposed to be that alertness. You're supposed to let me alert you to what you should and should not know. A lot of us can't break through it because we're in those social constructs. Those of us who are awoken and
I didn't know it was that short. When I first listened to it, I thought it was way longer. But yeah, that was the case with me growing up. It's funny that that when I came across this clip, I was like, yo, I literally cannot count the times on my fingers where it was like, oh, like you're being smart or you're being sarcastic or da-da-da, or just this, or stay in a child's place, blah, blah, blah. Because funny enough, there were a lot of things, and I'm sure a lot of you can relate watching this clip, where it just felt like you weren't supposed to be being told as a kid or even like involved in. I feel like one job that we had as a kid was first teach our parents, but one of the biggest ones is just be able to be a child, to be a kid. And I remember countless times, one of the biggest ones in my family, the whole psychological thing was money. And I just remember there was a point in time where my stepdad came crying to me. See, and funny enough, and I was like, simply to me, and I still live by this now. That's why I always say, like, I learned everything I learned from my grandma and just being myself, that I just stay one way. But I'm gonna get into what I mean in a second. Ready? It's like this. And I will never have anyone change me. So he came to me crying one day, or not like crying, but like he really upset, you know, and had the tears in his eyes. So I'm gonna say crying, being a little and I remember him literally saying, like we were having a conversation, and it was so odd. We just got into the topic of like money, and I was like, I really used to say as a kid, I was like, I feel like I should be involved in the money, or knowing at least where it's going, what's being spent on what, because it doesn't make sense that we never have money. And I was kind of middle, like I was kind of like low and then to middle class when I was growing up. So it was really strange. It was really strange because when I would tell like my friends' parents about this, like, you know, what he did for a job, they were like, something's not adding up. Something never added up. And I remember this conversation we had where he was like, man, I'm just, you know, so tired of your mom spending all this money, complaint. And I was like, then why don't you just not give her money? See, as a kid, you're thinking way simpler. Like everything is so simple. I'm like, why don't you just, but then, you know, you're not taking into account like, oh, it'll be a fight, this and that. So then I'm going to my mom thinking like, why are you being stupid? Like, why are you spending the money? So you're getting involved in all this. And I always used to think of that as a kid, like, just like, oh, these are simple. These feel like simple problems. Like, I'm over here thinking I'm Einstein, saying like, why don't you guys come together, really talk this out? These are the things I would say when I'm like 14, 15, sitting here like, what is going on? I'm like, I never witnessed this living with my grandma. And that was one thing that hit my grandma's heart really heavy when we were young, or when I was younger, was that she wishes she never let me go. But I really made that decision to be like, nah, I want to go stay with them. And she said I really wanted to anyways, but I knew in the back of my mind, I was like, she's getting older, and I don't want her to feel like she has to, you know, take care of me, or so, you know, like that. Because yeah, I lived with her for pretty much 14 years. So when I went into that, it was like being in one of the biggest psychological fucking tornadoes ever. And I just remember that he was like, I don't even have enough to buy you a pair of socks or underwear and da-da-da. And I'm like, damn, bro, a pair of socks, underwear. I can't even get a t-shirt. Like, it was really weird. I mean, I'm grateful we got a roof over our head and everything. And I was like, but that's what you're stressing about, that you can't like do these things. I was like, but like a pack of t-shirts is like $10. I was so confused. It was so funny. So, you know, and then one of the other things that came out was that, oh, it was like my mom always giving money to my aunt. And he was like, I'm paying for us to live in this house, and I'm also paying for them to live in their house. Like he said, I'm paying 2 rents. And I was like, damn, this is heavy. So these are all like things I'm thinking about while also going to school. And there's so much more. But that's just one of those examples where I like try to give my, you know, 2 cents. And they were like, oh, stay in a kid's place. Oh, you shouldn't be worrying about this. My mom was like, oh, he shouldn't even be talking to you about this. And she had a point. She was right. Because like I said, the point in the beginning was we are supposed to just be able to be kids, man. And even to a degree, the adults are supposed to be able to be childlike in nature and not have to stress these things. But it's this crazy ass system that's been built up on the world. But I remember I would always have these really deep talks when I was younger too with him, telling him about like, yo, I just feel like my consciousness is separated into 2 beings. Like I have this demon in me that I'm trying to keep in control, and also this God in me that I'll keep in control. And then he would tell me stories that maybe I'll reveal on this channel. We'll see. But some deep stories about this stuff, and I would just talk about these concepts. And always, I think it was around like 13 or 12, I would even tell him or question him why my existence even exists. Like, why am I even here? Why was I brought here? And he never had the answer of like what the reason we're doing all this was, but I always questioned it every time. And I was like, nah, this shit is not supposed to be like this. This system is not supposed to be like this. We're not supposed to be stressing as much as we are. Shit don't make sense. But, you know, I remember that, like, even when I would say slick things like blah, 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 I would get that term all the time. You're being smart. You're being sarcastic. And, you know, and it's funny because I took it a part of my identity. I'm like, yeah, I am sarcastic. And then it's just been me for so long. So it's like I don't know myself other than that. But it's like I know the different qualities that I have. Like when I talk about my teachers, the ones that took me out to dinner and stuff like that, I do have these qualities that I know I built myself. But I think I really did have sarcasm almost programmed into me because of saying things that you wouldn't expect a child to normally say. Like I was in middle school and I told that story about the teacher who was like, damn, like you're really wise beyond your years. Like it's insane because of the stuff you went through way younger, and things laid out in your path just made you a step of the game. Because it's almost like there's a part where it's like almost like it's intellect mixed with wisdom, but it's like that's really the step above just being completely intellectual. So that was me really younger, and that shit made me alienate myself. Like, or I was alienated, but it made me also take that step to just be in solitude. Because bro, I feel like I sometimes really think back to my childhood and say, damn, I was really in the zone, because how the hell did I make it here? Like, I was like, yo, I'm not even kidding. I was questioning every single day why the hell I was alive. Like every single day. It's just insane to think that through all that, I was still able to arrive to where I am now. Also adding on all the DLC chapters of fucking experience that has happened throughout the school journey and all that. It was just insane. But, you know, I thought that. And if you're, because I have partially a younger audience on the channel too. If you're younger listening to this, seriously, man, don't let that stuff get in your head. It's seriously, I feel like from this post, it was talking more about like Indigo children and yada yada and etc. Just know that you came here to teach your parents something, and the best thing I believe is for you to lead by example. So never let that shit affect you if you're getting that same, because literally I feel like that line is literally universal. And I'm not gonna say it's a race thing, but I feel like it's a black thing too. I only heard black people say to me, you're being smart, or you're being like, they were incapable of achieving this sort of, like, it just made no sense. I was like, what does that mean? I always questioned it as a kid, but yeah, but that was a big thing too. And even like my mom would even talked about this too, trying to like shelter me, or her and her grandma tried to shelter me from the realistic things of the world. And that also played a factor. Like, I didn't turn out the kid that was like, like spoiled and kind of like got no sense of what's going on in the street. I kind of put myself in those scenarios to get that experience where I was like, okay, what the fuck's happening over here? Okay, I learned I don't like gangsters or gangbangers or this shit. I don't like this side of the shit. So then I put myself in this scenario so I could learn. But they tried to keep me from that, and I was like, I knew that would be, you gotta almost like let your kid run out into the world, so then they get those scars and build like a tough skin. And that's what I did, because I feel like it's always just been in me, I guess. And then there you can call it the Indigo children, the Star children, the Rainbow children, whatever prophecy that they were coming to the planet. But it's wild. It makes me think, like, when hearing things like this, it's like, holy moly, it's really true. Like, some of us were just born straight different, born to completely make changes and break family curses. So yeah, this is definitely my message to y'all who are in your family, and you could be even older now still trying to break the curse, because it's a lifelong thing. It's a day by day thing that each of us has generational trauma that's on us that you are meant to absolutely stop, like just put up the brick wall at that shit, because if you don't, you will pass it on when you have kids. So best thing, yeah, best thing. But yeah, and another important thing with that this video made me realize is that I had to go back in my mind, because I started meditating around 14. I did candle meditation. That was one of the biggest ones. If you guys see my candle meditation video, where I took the time to go back in my mind and give myself that sort of self-love, because every time they wrote it off of me being smart and stuff, they literally like would just ignore me after that, or be like, or like just like they would hear you out. And this is one of the quotes I heard recently. My alarm's about to go off for 3 p.m. But this was something I heard recently by Lil Wayne, and he said, a lot of people are just listening to you, but they're not really hearing you. And that hit me really deep. Like, when you're talking to someone, they want to hear, like, they're like, oh yeah, they ask you for your side on things. I would say that's the biggest thing, is someone asks you for their side, or your side of things, your perspective, then okay, that you have their attention a little bit more. But anytime that you get into that mode where you're explaining something, and this plays on that, because this is what happened when I was younger, when they'd be like, stay in a kid's place, where you can just literally look at them and tell by body language that they're just listening. They're not hearing you out. They're literally just kind of like in one ear out the other. It's like, and I don't know which one is more powerful. I think to say I hear you feels stronger than to say I'm listening to you, because you can just be listening but not attentive. But when you say like I hear you, that means a little bit more to me. But that was the quote he said. I don't remember which way it went, but just remember that is like, that's how it was for me. I could tell like they were just listening, but they weren't really hearing me out or taking suggestions on how to change things. And the loops just keep continuing. And I've even realized that now in my circle now. Sometimes there will be points where it just feels like the people around me are just listening and not really hearing me out. So, and that plays into a whole nother thing. But yeah, anyways, much love, Moonlight. I'll see y'all in the next one. I hope you enjoyed. I'm out. Peace.